Hello again, and welcome back to the 2A Constitutionalist podcast. Sorry for the interruption and the premature ending to the last episode. Unfortunately, where I had to move locations in the house, and yeah, it became a whole thing where I couldn't just continue the cast at that point because it would have been essentially 10 minutes of dead air time, and I think eventually StreamYard would have yanked the stream anyways. What it was, because it's like if you're not there, they just don't that would be a thing. But anyway, so basically, as we were saying in the previous part of this episode, you had that scumbag Tim Ryan who's now down 4 points in the polls and stuff like that. Which, again, polls don't mean anything. What really means stuff is when you actually have people voting for positions of power at this point in this country's history, and you actually see the real polling numbers and stuff like that from the actual midterm elections. And my thing is, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, when you actually look at the primary results for Ohio, if you would just go by those, that would be, the pro Tim Ryan side and the pro JD Vance side and stuff like that from May. You have JD Vance ahead by anywhere from 4 to 5 votes to every one that Tim Ryan gets. So that alone, you would basically have Tim Ryan lose like anywhere from like 4 to 5 to 1. So anyway, but yeah, it's like I'll tell you what, man. I don't know if it's I don't think it's Tim Ryan raising the money. I think it's a bunch of super PACs for Tim Ryan. I think it's specifically Act Blue, all the BLM money and stuff like that they took in during 2020 and were doing with a massive money laundering scheme. There is what it was. My thing of it is when you have that shit go on, and they're the ones footing the bill for this cocksucker. It's like, nah, man, it's ridiculous. And like I said, the fucking comments that Tim Ryan made alone should be an immediate disqualification from office. This is exactly why I've been advocating for some time now. This is why we need to have a 20th Amendment in the Constitution that includes automatic disqualifications from both when you're like if you were actually in office or whatever and did some criminal shit or whatever that be the case, or some very shady shit or whatever the case be, that should be like removed from office. You are disqualified from that office. And if you're going to run for some other office, you're disqualified from the running entirely, is what it is. So, or the same thing with everything else like that. Like I would say truthfully, if we were doing it the correct way, it would basically be if you're running on an anti-gun, anti-life platform, etc., yeah, you don't need to be in that position of power ever. Go fuck yourself. You're out of the race. So, anyway, unfortunately, we don't have that in place because if we did, we'd actually be a much better country. We'd probably have 5 decades where American citizens were born instead of 5 decades where you had American children being executed in the womb under Roe versus Wade, and then you had fucking illegals coming into our country for about the same amount of time, actually. And that basically goes to the other stories we're going to talk about today, which is illegal immigration in this country. So, if you haven't heard, there was basically a bunch of stuff. I'm actually just going to go ahead and do a screen share of Breitbart's main page here because we're just going to discuss a bunch of different topics from it today. So, first of all, you got leftists accuse Governor Ron DeSantis of, quote, kidnapping migrants to send to Martha's Vineyard. For those who haven't heard, basically, people are saying what happened was there was possibly a coordinated effort between Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, to basically ship migrants / illegals to various places, including Martha's Vineyard, to Kamala Harris's fucking house there and stuff. And, Biden's place in Delaware and shit like that's what it was. Because it all happened on the same day. You had basically busloads of illegals from Texas, I believe, showed up in Biden's neighborhood there in Delaware. And then you had a bunch of illegals being flown by DeSantis to Martha's Vineyard, where Kamala has a house at. And then you had basically the left freaking out now about it and stuff like that. And the thing that people don't realize is this shit's been going on for decades, dude. This shit has been going on for a long ass time. It only really stopped under President Donald J. Trump because he did the Remain in Mexico policy stuff. He did the thing to actually secure our border as much as he could with his fucking hands tied behind his back by a bunch of piece of shit Democrats like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and company, and then a bunch of spineless rhino cucks like Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell and company, dude, that really don't give a fuck about us as a country at all, dude. And they don't give a shit because their whole thing is what they want cheap labor. They want to undercut Americans' wages, and they basically just want to fuck us over as much as they can, dude. That's why you have everybody in office right now that's been in there more than a few years are 100% doing insider trading. And the thing is, the only reason that they're not going to prison like Martha Stewart did is because of the fact that they have exemptions from it because they are congressmen and senators, which is absolute bullshit entirely, because they are directly giving fucking information to their spouses, to their fucking brothers, their sisters, their cousins, etc. You know, their nieces, their nephews, all of them, dude. Like extended family and everything like that, so that they can make a fuck ton of money. It's just like how Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, conveniently makes millions and millions of fucking dollars on random weird stock trades every so often. And the next couple days later, it's like, oh, Congress just passed this thing for the CHIPS Act. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, seriously. Both of those assholes should be in prison right now. Both Nancy and her fucking husband should be in prison right now for a fuck ton of crimes, dude. And I'm not just saying them, dude. I'm saying everybody across the board, dude. Whether it be a Maxine Waters, Chuck Schumer, fucking Bob Gibbs, who's my representative right now in Congress, and a piece of fucking shit who I never voted for ever because he's a fucking old scumbag sack of shit rhino. And thank fuck he's leaving office at the end of this year, honestly. He should be tossed out right now, honestly. Like I said, it was up to me, honestly. In the 20th Amendment, potentiality, you would actually have a clause in there where it's like, hey, if you announce your retirement from office, you're gone, motherfucker. Like, you no longer have a position of power after that. Like, you got basically a couple days to pack your shit and get the fuck out. And we're having a special election to replace your ass right then and there. And I don't care if it costs taxpayers money or not, dude, because honestly, I think a lot of American taxpayers would more than be willing to have to foot the bill for special elections and stuff in this country if it meant that we had true representation again and we had actual constitutionalists in power again, and we had people that actually give a fuck about the oath that they swore to office and were doing something to be our actual representatives and senators, etc. there, instead of just being a bunch of fucking scumbags doing backdoor shady shit on a daily basis, dude, and not giving a fuck about us and helping pass anti-gun legislation and anti-life legislation, everything else like that. So, or even worse, basically making it legal for a whole bunch of fucking H-1B visas and everything else like to be handed out to people that don't even belong in this country, honestly, dude. So, anyway, but yeah, going back to the Martha's Vineyards article there, or multiple articles there. Of course, she had, like said, leftists accused DeSantis of kidnapping migrants disrupting Martha's Vineyard. Ron DeSantis sends planes of illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard. You got Martha's Vineyard this is what is more fucked up. Martha's Vineyard begs for federal help over 50 illegal arrivals. 50 people. And they're like, we need the fucking federal government to step in and do something now because our rich ass fucking multimillionaire lifestyle is in jeopardy now. Like, dude, imagine what's going to happen to these fucking people if the grid ever does go down. Like, like that whole, like, eat the rich thing will become legitimate, dude. Like, the Alex Jones eat your neighbors thing is going to be for real at that point, dude. But yeah, so going back to Breitbart's main page here, I want to discuss some stuff here that they were talking about on the thing I thought was interesting there, which was, welcome to Migrants Vineyard, illegal immigration debate reset. Left freaks out over 5 million border crossers. Nope. Fentanyl. Nope. Cartels. Nope. Open borders. Nope. Secret night flights by Biden and company. Nope. Dead migrants. Nope. 50 migrants in Sanctuary City on the beach. That's what they're freaking out about, dude. And then, yeah, like I said, over here, you got Governor Greg Abbott buses migrants to Kamala Harris's D.C. home. Okay, that's what that was. Okay. I thought it was, well, I don't know. Maybe it was the flights to the vineyard, and then it was, yeah, it had to be Ron DeSantis doing the flights to the vineyard, and then it was Kamala's DC house, and then I thought there was also busloads to Biden's place in Delaware as well that I was thinking about the other day that I had read something about. So I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, it's a bunch of crap entirely, dude. And then you got, let's see what else we got here for that. Got busted. Florida Democrats voted to fund illegals sent to Martha's Vineyard for the budget to make it happen. So Florida Democrats outraged by migrants sent to Martha's Vineyard voted for the budget to make it happen. So I'm going to go ahead and read that article real quick here, because that sounds pretty damn funny, honestly. Go ahead and do a rescreen share here on this. Okay, pull that one down. Go ahead and grab this other one here. Let's see. Yeah, you got Florida Democrats outraged by migrants sent to Martha's Vineyard voted for the budget that made it happen. That's hilarious. You seriously, okay. So I'm assuming that this is an accurate picture of the dudes that were some of the illegals that were sent there to Martha's Vineyard and stuff. You can't honestly tell me that every single one of these motherfuckers aren't fighting age males at this point, dude, and that we're not importing a whole shitload of a fucking standing army that's a bunch of foreign nationals, dude. Like, that's the biggest problem I have with this whole thing right now, entirely, and I think everybody else needs to wake up to that fact as well, dude. Is I think that's what their end game is right now, truthfully, when it comes to the oligarchy that we're seeing as our federal government currently, dude, is to basically have a standing army of illegals in this country to be their essentially fighters against American citizens is what it is pretty soon. So anyway, and then you got dude. Douchebag Disney star and possible pedophile job. Come on, you fucker. All right, not sure where my audio potentially cut off there because I was discussing stuff mid-sentence and I noticed that the signal was getting weak and stuff there. So we're going to go back to what I was talking about then. Obviously, I mentioned about, you can't tell me at this point that these groups of foreign nationals that are coming into our country illegally are not a standing army. And then you had douchebag actor Josh Gad, who is a possible pedophile, bitching and moaning about sending illegals to Martha's Vineyard is cruel, but ignores Biden's secret night flights of shipping them all across this country. Yeah, it's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. It really fucking is. So my biggest issue with this whole thing, actually, if it was going to be like a coordinated effort and stuff like that, it should have not only been Florida and Texas. You should have had Mike DeWine get off his fucking lazy ass and do the same thing here with Ohio, dude, because we got a huge illegal alien problem here, dude. When you got fucking illegals raping fucking 9, 10-year-old little girls, dude, it's ridiculous. And first of all, it should never happen. Secondly, they should never be in this country to begin with, when they have no status to be here to begin with, dude. And that guy had no status to be here to begin with for like over a decade of his life, as it was. So, but that's the biggest problem with America right now, is you just have that shit going on all the time anymore. So, but yeah, as I said here about Florida Democrats making it happen, it said several Florida Democrats who are publicly expressing shock and outrage over Ron DeSantis's sending undocumented migrants, aka illegal aliens, to Martha's Vineyard, actually voted in favor of the state budget, which appropriates $12 million for a program to do just that. See, this is the problem with government entirely, I think, and this is something that I've talked about verbatim when it comes to different things here in Ohio and stuff. A few years ago, this was back pre-DeWine's governorship, it was back when John Casey was still governor, you had people, the Republican Party in the state, pass a dumbass piece of legislation that basically would have turned every Ohioan that had a gun over, I think it was 14 inches, into a felon immediately. And they had to go back into session and do a special session to basically rip that fucking thing out of the thing with an amendment is what it was, dude. because they're too dumb to actually read legislation is what it is, dude. And I think that's truthful about both parties, honestly, dude. It's a bunch of lazy motherfuckers that don't want to read shit. And I don't blame them for not wanting to read shit because, again, when you have people like the real problem with a lot of legislation that's being introduced into state constitutions and stuff like that, or, you know, for Ohio is our revised code and stuff like that, the issue becomes what it should be. It should be like a 2 or 3 page thing of like, this is what they're going to add in. And this is, you know, like it would go in like right here. Like it would basically at the bottom, it would have like a thing of like, this is where it goes into the actual revised code. That if it would become law and shit. But instead what they do is they take this whole big section of the Ohio revised code that's like 70, 100, 150 pages, something like that. And then they put like 3 pages worth of new material into that 150 pages is what it is, dude. And so you have to go through this entire like 150 page piece of legislation to find a couple of paragraphs of what they're actually trying to add into it is what it is. And to me, that's not right, honestly, because what you're doing is some backdoor shady shit in general. And I think that's exactly what happened with that stupid piece of legislation that had to be overwritten several years back now is what it was back in like I want to say 17, but it might have been the very beginning of 2018. So anyway, yeah, going back to this article about DeSantis and the Florida Democrats there, said Governor DeSantis signed the $109.9, almost $110 billion Freedom First budget in June. That's a goddamn, dude, $110 billion. Can you imagine that? Even for a state the size of Florida, $110 billion. Like, you cannot tell me that of $110 billion, there's not some wasteful spending in that fucking budget, dude. I mean, hell, I could tell you that for Ohio. Ohio has about half of the people that Florida has in it, and maybe even less than that. And you have about the same size budget almost. It's like $70-80 billion or something like that. And you're just like, no, you cannot tell me there's not like at least $25 million of wasteful spending in that, dude. Or not million, $25 billion of wasteful spending in that whole thing, dude. And that's the biggest problem right now entirely. But yeah, it said, let's see if I can do a screen share here without it going all shitty again. That's what I'm not doing right now, actually, because it was going all wonky earlier. But yeah, so you guys can see what I'm actually reading here. And like I said, going back to this whole thing, like, you cannot tell me that, that photo of these random dudes and stuff like that, that we're not actually importing standing armies of fighting age males at this point. So, especially when you have entire busloads of them coming to places, dude. But anyway, continuing on down, though, it said, yeah, so Governor DeSantis signed the $109.9 billion Freedom First budget in June, which invests in education, law enforcement, and provides tax holidays, among other things. Document highlighting some of the biggest initiatives in the budget explicitly states that the budget, quote, creates a $12 million program within the Florida Department of Transportation to facilitate the transportation of unauthorized aliens out of Florida. That's funny. And this Christina Pawa, I think is how I pronounce her name, said, underrated aspect of Martha's Vineyard meltdown today, the funding for transporting illegal aliens to sanctuary jurisdictions was a highlight of the budget. Governor Ron DeSantis signed months ago. Democrat legislators performing outrage today voted for it. Promises made, promises kept. See, I really think DeSantis is making a name for himself to run for 2024 at this point, dude. Like, if he's not, I'd be shocked. If he either doesn't run for president, or if he doesn't become like Trump's nominee for VP or something like that, dude, like, I would be completely shocked if he maintained governorship of Florida after 2024, honestly, dude, and didn't try to run for either president or VP for that matter. Anyway, continuing on here, it said, this is notable and ironic as many Florida Democrat lawmakers who are openly condemning the administration's decision to ship illegals to Martha's Vineyard, calling it cruel and disgusting, voted in favor of the exact budget. Quote, no comparison whatsoever, Representative Carlos Smith said on social media, deeming DeSantis an authoritarian leader. Said, quote, just depravity from the authoritarian governor seeking to score cheap political points with ultra mega who think traumatizing vulnerable people and children is some kind of game. You realize that there are literal things called rape trees in the fucking desert because the illegal aliens being shipped into this country by fucking human traffickers called coyotes are a lot of the women and children, specifically young girls, are raped by these fucking pieces of shit out in the fucking desert, douchebag. So you want to talk about traumatizing there, Carlos Smith? Let's talk about that, you fucking cunt. Seriously, fucking douchebag. And of course, this same asshole, Carlos, voted in favor of the budget, which creates a program to ship illegals to other parts of the country. It remains unclear if he considers his own vote depraved. Yeah, this guy's just he looks like a fucking douchebag, honestly, dude, from that little fucking shot there. Like, the guy looks like every leftist douche ever, basically. Let's see here. It said State Representative Anna Escamini, who's also a Democrat. By the way, I believe this is the chick who was behind the red flag shit. I'm pretty sure it was this woman here that was behind Florida's red flag legislation a couple years ago. And I know for a fact that she has pushed, when I was looking up the stuff for Florida this year, or not this year, but last year, for when they were doing constitutional carry and stuff. I know she was the one behind a bunch of other anti-gun legislation on the books there they were trying to push. I don't think any of it ever got through, thank God, because their General Assembly's time ended quickly is what it was. The thing with Florida is it's interesting, comparing to Ohio here. Florida and a couple other states, I think Nebraska's another one of these ones, they have like something like 90 days or something like that for their actual General Assembly throughout the year, and it's like the first 90 days of the year kind of thing or whatever. And then if they don't get stuff done, they can then come back in for special sessions if the governor's order it and stuff like that or not. And the thing is, with Florida, they basically went through their 90 days and didn't get stuff done. And then when DeSantis made that's when he got the budget bill through, actually, was this past summer, because he called a special session for that and the constitutional carry and a few other things. Constitutional carry never got through, unfortunately. But one thing that did was this budget bill, obviously. And the thing is with that this Democrat woman here, she was pushing a bunch of anti-gun legislation up to that point and was even trying to basically get it over the finish line during that special session and was told to fuck off is what it was, dude. So anyway, as I said, this Anna Escamini expressed outrage, accusing GOP politicians and, quote, alt-right media outlets of, quote, using public money to traffic immigrants, calling it disgusting, un-American, and shameful. No, what's disgusting, un-American, and shameful is literally fucking jumping our border on a daily basis, you stupid bitch. Like, that's what the fucking issue is, dude. Is undercutting our fucking American tax wages by having people come into this country and steal our fucking jobs and undercut us under the fucking table because they're not getting paid legally. They're getting paid cash under the fucking table. And they're like, oh, I can do that for $10 cash compared to the guy that's an American citizen who has to pay fucking taxes, or the gal who's an American citizen who has to pay fucking taxes and has to get 15 to 20 an hour to do that same fucking job because, again, you know, $5 to $10 is taken out in tax money, dude. So, or more for that matter, even in some cases. But anyway, continues on here and said, this dumb bitch also voted in favor of the Freedom First budget, which devotes millions to the program she was bitching about. It says State Rep Annie Nixon, also a Democrat, was visibly annoyed after the DeSantis Rapid Response Director, Christina Powell, pointed out that Democrats, including Nixon herself, supported the budget. However, the Democrats simply used the complexities of the budget as an excuse and publicly expressed that she hopes DeSantis goes to prison. No, I think if anyone's going to go to prison, it's you Dems, lady, because you're the scumbag fucking criminals of this country right now, for the most part. I mean, there's also a bunch of rhinos out there too as well. And like I said, I'm hands off with both parties at this point, dude. I want them both gone. If we're going to be serious, I'll establish people in every one of them, dude, because they're all a bunch of scumbags. There's a few here and there, like a DeSantis or maybe like a Rand Paul or something like that. They're okay and maybe like should stay as like advisory roles or something like that. But yeah, just across the board, it's like, you know, everybody get out and we just change things completely, dude. Have a bunch of first time, hopefully constitutionals get into office then. But yeah, of course she's gonna like I said, this is what other people do to things, man. They're like, oh, but the budget was like 1,000 pages and I only read the first 10. It's like, well, maybe you should have read the other 990 of them then, lady. Seriously. Shit. Anyway, so notably, Florida Senate Democrat leader Lauren Book called the administration's decision to spend money from the state budget to ship illegals out of state as, quote, puzzling, despite the fact that money for such a program is clearly in the budget, which she also voted for. Oh my God, it gets funnier and funnier the longer we read this, man. Like this really is like some next level shit right there, man. So what is more, DeSantis did not hide this program, speaking openly about his hopes that the legislature would allot money for such a program in December 2021. Quote, in yesterday's budget, I put in $8 million for us to be able to transport people here illegally out of the state of Florida, DeSantis said at the time. It's somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but it is true. If you sent them to Delaware or Martha's Vineyard or some of these places, that border would be secure the next day. And that is exactly what we're seeing right now, dude. Because like I said, let me see if I can find that article again here. Yeah, we're going to go to this one now. So you got this fucking one where it is Martha's Vineyard declares humanitarian crisis over just 50 illegal alien arrivals. Like, seriously, are you fucking kidding me, bro? And you have like tens of thousands a day trying to cross into Texas and other places, Arizona, New Mexico, all these different border states and stuff like that, dude. Hell, you've had Carrie Lake, who's running for governor of Arizona, say specifically, she's like, hey, if y'all elect me, like pretty much the first day in office, I'm going to declare a fucking like state of emergency kind of thing there in Arizona and basically declare cartels a fucking human, I forget how she put it, something about like human trafficking, something or other, to basically allow it to be where she can basically declare martial law on the fucking borders, what it is, dude, and federalize the border essentially there in Arizona, which is how it should be anyway. So, anyway, yeah, it says Martha's Vineyard officials are begging for federal assistance over what they are calling a humanitarian crisis after just 50 illegal aliens were flown into the elite island where the nation's wealthiest residents vacation, including the Obamas that have a fucking house there. And it's funny that you always talk about these climate people when they're, you know, they're all like, oh, the climate. And then it turns out that, like, they go and buy houses on Martha's Vineyard that would literally be underwater if that were true. So, yeah, it's just a bunch of scumbag shit, dude. So Wednesday evening, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced he had sent two planefuls of Venezuelan illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard. The move comes as Texas and Arizona have sent thousands of border crossers on migrant buses to New York City, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. over the last few months. Only about 50 illegals had been flown to Martha's Vineyard, but the island's officials are calling a humanitarian crisis and have said that they are begging for state and federal assistance to deal with the teeny influx of illegal immigrants. Jesus fuck it. What a bunch of pussies, dude. I'll tell you, these people they will never survive grid down, dude. There is no way. They will never survive it, ever. Yeah, it says number of illegal aliens sent to Martha's Vineyard is a teeny fraction of the level of illegal immigration American border communities are subjected to every day. In one Texas border town recently, about 4,000 illegal crossers crossed through in a single weekend. In August, nearly 6,000 border crossers and illegal aliens were apprehended by federal immigration officials every single day. This does not include the thousands more illegal aliens who successfully crossed the border undetected by officials. For comparison, the number of border crossers and illegal aliens inundated American border communities every day is about 125 times greater than the number of illegal aliens that were flown to Martha's Vineyard by Ron DeSantis this week. 125 times more are in border towns than were flown to fucking Martha's Vineyard, dude. Yeah. These people in Martha's Vineyard can fuck off, is what it is, dude. Seriously. And we got Texas Sheriff calls for fentanyl to be labeled as a weapon of mass destruction. I totally agree with that one. Should have been a while ago. There should, like, honestly, I'll say it like it is, dude. Any of these kind of drug dealers that deal in that kind of shit need to be given death penalty sentences at this point in this country's history. Let's see. Got Greg Abbott on busing migrants. We are taking the border to Biden, Harris, and company. As you should be, sir. As you should be. I remember one time I actually was talking about Greg Abbott, and I was like, this dude really needs to stand up and take a bow. And then I totally forgot that he's wheelchair bound. I'm trying to remember actually how he got, if he was like a car crash or what happened to him that he got in the accident that caused him to be permanently disabled now. I'm not sure actually. Let's see. It's like Governor Greg. Let's see if I can do a screen share on this one before I start reading this because it's not that long. Yeah, it was a Abbott on busing migrants. We are taking the border to Biden Harris. It's like Governor Greg Abbott said on Friday on Fox News Channel's America's Newsroom that he was busing migrants to locations in Washington, D.C., including Vice President Kamala Harris's residence, so they can understand what is happening on the U.S.-Mexico border. Abbott said, quote, listen, in part in Texas, we are doing it to relieve the burned local communities. I think they mean burdened is what they're saying there. Yeah, relieve the burden local communities are facing along the border. We have small communities of about 25,000 people who have thousands of illegal aliens dumped into their community, so they were begging for relief. That is why we began this busing operation to Washington, D.C. Plus, we have a president who has refused to go see the crisis he has created on the border, and a crisis czar in border czar in Kamala Harris, who has refused to see what is going on at the border as well. If they won't go to the border, we're taking the border to them so they can see the challenges we are posing to the entire United States of America. Abbott added, this year, more than 2 million people will cross the border illegally. They need to deal with the consequences as well as the result of what the United Nations says, and that is U.S.-Mexico border is the deadliest land crossing in the world right now. That's crazy, dude. That is fucking nuts. I'm not surprised by it, honestly. That is actually like the deadliest place or whatever, dude. But it's like, again, like I don't know, man. Like Trump was right though about a border wall, dude. Like we have to have, like, this is the thing, and I've said this many, many times since then. You can't have a country without a secured fucking actual border of it, dude, to where it's lined out legitimately and be like, this is our border. This is the border of another country over here. This is how we protect our borders. And this is the fucked up part about the whole thing, right? You have all these people who are in Congress right now and Senate right now who are doing omnibus bills on a regular basis, at least one a year anyway, for the last like several years, to where we have border walls funded in countries like Jordan and Afghanistan and places else like that, dude. You got them doing speedboats to Sri Lanka and shit. And yet you have $0 in our own fucking congressional omnibus bill budgets and stuff like that, dude, to fund the American-Mexico border wall, or even a second border wall with fucking America and Canada, dude. And it's like, and for those wondering why I said Canada on that one, we should have two border walls, by the way. We should have a border wall on the U.S.-Mexico border, number one. That should be the first thing go into effect. We should also have one from with Canada, and specifically I say that because there is a lot of shit going on in Canada that's shady as fuck is what it is, dude. And I could easily see it being like some death from above shit at some point in the future with the importation of a bunch of stuff up there and stuff like that through other countries that shouldn't be in these nations is what it is, dude. But anyway, so continue on here. I think I mentioned this in one of yesterday's casts where Mazzy Reno did a call to arms when debating abortion ban. Like, again, just like Tim Ryan, dude, how the fuck is that woman still in office, dude, after that? It's just insane to me, dude. Just fucking psychotic is what it is, man. Let's see. Massachusetts deports illegals from Martha's Vineyard to military base. Yeah, of course they fucking do. Conservatives mock leftist Martha's Vineyard migrant hypocrisy. I'm actually going to read this one because it sounds funny. So, go ahead and do a little screen share here if we can. And my thing is too, like, right? Okay, so I'm actually going to talk about the picture that they're showing here of these people. So you got, random fighting age male here in the black shirt. You got on the far right there. You got a dude in a mask next to him who's also fighting age male. Dude next to him who's fighting age male. Dude behind him who's a fighting age male. A woman holding a small child. Another woman who has a small child holding hands with them and is clearly pregnant. So that kid's a fucking anchor baby that's in her womb right now. And then you got two more fighting age males next to them. And it's like, dude, we really need to redo the 14th Amendment when it comes to birth citizenship in this country. because again, it's an influx with illegal aliens in this nation to where they have anchor baby children is what it is, dude. And I could go on a whole tirade right now about how Kamala shouldn't be legally allowed to be BP right now because technically speaking, when you look into her past and her birth in this country, as far as I'm aware to this day, her parents were foreign nationals when she was born here, dude. They were, I believe it was either her mother or her father was a diplomat for some other country, and they were here on a visit when Kamala was born on U.S. soil, dude. And she got birthright citizenship because of that. So, anyway. It's like conservatives on social media mocked the left's Martha's Vineyard migrant hypocrisy after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis sent 2 plane loads of illegal aliens to former President Obama's vacation spot. Quote, Martha's Vineyard residents voted at 80% for Joe Biden. There is no excuse for their racism and xenophobia, one said. That's funny. Yeah, no, there's not, dude. So Governor DeSantis defended the move, making it clear that Florida is not a sanctuary state and will continue to happily help facilitate the transportation of illegal aliens to sanctuary jurisdictions, adding that the left-wing opposition to this shows that their virtue signaling is a complete fraud. Yes, it is, and it has been forever. My thing is, as far as I'm aware, Ohio is not a sanctuary state either. There might be a sanctuary city or two here that's fucking unconstitutional as fuck, by the way, and should be falling under our preemption of our state laws and stuff to where we're not going to be that thing, and we should be kicking them all out of here too as well, dude. So anyway, it said, to be clear, Martha's Vineyard residents voted at 80% for Joe Biden. There is no excuse for the racism and xenophobia, quipped author Mike Cernovich in response to a video that showed a reporter asking Martha's Vineyard's homeless shelter coordinator Lisa Del Castro about the migrants that were flown to the island. So at some point in time, they have to move from here to somewhere else, she said. We don't have the services to take care of 50 illegals. Why don't you? Why don't you have the services to take care of 50 people, lady? Like, Jesus Christ, you know? And if you can't take care of 50, imagine taking care of like 5,000, man. Or 1 million, for that matter. You know? Like fucking DeSantis said, or not DeSantis, like Greg Abbott said in the other article, you know, when you have thousands streaming over the fucking borders and stuff like that, yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit, dude. Let's see. So a slew of other conservatives on social media poked fun at the apparent hypocrisy seen by Martha's Vineyard. I actually know who this first guy is. Mike Loychek is a first-term state rep from here in Ohio. He's actually the guy that is trying to make Ohio become a 2A sanctuary state with the Second Amendment Preservation Act thing that's still not getting through committee. And I talked to my state rep, Reggie Stolfus, about it the other day. And Reggie said most likely it's not going to happen by the end of the year for the Ohio becoming a 2A sanctuary because of the fact that when it comes to Second Amendment sanctuary or Second Amendment Preservation Act things, you have people that are like hesitant about it because they're like, oh, but this could create a whole slew of things. And, you know, his whole thing was like, federal fucking laws trump state laws, and it's like, except they don't when it comes to the literal 10th Amendment of states' rights, buddy. Like, I almost went off on that one, dude. I fucking should have, honestly, in that call. And if I had been able to record the whole damn thing, I would have, honestly, because it's like, dude, like, there's a 10th Amendment for a reason about states' rights, and it's basically, yeah, we have the right to tell the federal government to go fuck itself when it's trying to infringe on our constitutional rights to keep and bear arms and stuff like that. So, but anyway. As Michael Loychek pointed out, he said that 50 illegal aliens in Martha's Vineyard is a humanitarian crisis. Then what would you call what happens in the border towns that get overrun with illegals every single day? Exactly. We got Ryan James Grodowski, who said, borders liberals care about 1, Ukraine, 2, Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, pretty much, dude. You got some chick named Jordan Chamberlain, who I think is actually like a known like podcast chick or something. Said everyone is dunking on people in Martha's Vineyard, but we really need to be patient with them. It's their first time ever seeing someone who isn't white. Ooh, that's some shots fired right there, man. She's right though. She's right about that though, dude. And like I said, like I was talking about that one dude the other day on his cast and stuff like that with places like Maine and stuff like that, like they are heavily fucking white, dude, is what it is. And they also tend to be a lot safer because of that, unfortunately. You know, because again, when you bring in people to different places, there's always culture clashes and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into the whole thing right now, but yeah, that's where I'll leave it at right now, honestly, dude. And you'll always see tribalism basically root itself into the frenzy at some point. Then, so anyway, it's a conservative radio host Buck Sexton suggested sending illegal aliens to additional white liberal locations such as Nantucket, Malibu, and the Hamptons. Oh, fuck yeah. Send them all there, dude. DeSantis is not the only red state governor to be sending illegal aliens to liberal sanctuary cities. Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has also bussed illegal aliens to cities like Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. Dinesh Dusani, who did a great documentary called 2,000 Mules, and if you haven't watched that, you should, because it totally explains what happened in 2020. And I'll leave it at that one. He said, if a handful of illegals causes panic in places like New York, Washington, D.C., and Martha's Vineyard, why not send them 1,000, 10,000, load up the buses, criminals first. This is one type of busing we can get behind. Exactly, dude. Joe Pollock, who I believe was one of the guys who lost his daughter in fuck, I'm trying to think which one it was now. The one in Florida. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Where David Hogg became a fucking known asshole from. Parkland, that's what it was. Yeah, I believe that Joel lost his daughter in the Parkland massacre. He said Martha's Vineyard could easily house thousands of migrants. Just use eminent domain to seize one of the private golf courses and build some of the public housing with eco-friendly materials and carbon offsets. There will still be 4 golf courses left, including one private one. Yeah, exactly, dude. So others suggested that the liberals on Martha's Vineyard should be elated about the newfound diversity on their island. Tim Young, who I've seen on Twitter a bunch of times, said Martha's Vineyard is 89% white people. They should be grateful for their new diversity. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Christina Walker said, I know many Martha's Vineyard homes have guest houses on property. The migrants don't even need to stay in the main house. Diversity rocks. Jack Posobiec said, why is Martha's Vineyard so upset about becoming enriched by diversity? Exactly, dude. They know why. Let's see. So other conservatives pointed out how there have been a copious amount of news coverage on the 50-person influx of illegals on Martha's Vineyard compared to the millions of illegal aliens crossing the U.S. southern border every day. So a guy that went by the Bradford File said, lols. There have been more media coverage about 50 illegal aliens in Martha's Vineyard than 2 million border crossing every day. Some guy named David said, it can't be lost on the average voter that there was a lot more angry coverage of 50 migrants in Martha's Vineyard than millions of overwhelming southern border towns. Exactly. That is what's pathetic, by the way, that you have people who are coming into our country illegally on a daily basis, millions of them, into these border towns, get zero media coverage, but oh my God, send them to the rich fucking elitist white areas and stuff like that in this country, and holy shit, now there's fucking uprising. Nope, can't have them in my fucking sanctuary town and stuff. It's a bunch of hypocrite bullshit, dude. I'm fucking sick and tired of it. And like I said, honestly, I want Ohio to get on board with this shit, dude. It's time to start shipping our illegals to fucking Martha's Vineyard and other places like that as well, dude. Ship them to New York, ship them to fucking Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, Malibu, etc., dude. For real. Show these fuckers firsthand what's up, dude. Clay Travis said it took only 50 illegal aliens in Martha's Vineyard to cause a humanitarian crisis on their left-wing island. Now imagine what Texas and Arizona cities are dealing with. Millions of illegal aliens crossing the border every day. Let's see, it said, meanwhile, so many on the left, such as New York City Governor Eric Adams, who's a piece of shit dumbass, as is that moron DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, have expressed disapproval of the policies they claim to support after illegals have been sent directly to their cities. Others doubled down on their virtue signaling, with Massachusetts State Rep Dylan Fuentes, Democrat, boasting that the elites of Martha's Vineyard have jumped into action in support of the illegals. No, they haven't, you fucking clown. They totally said, get them the fuck out of here, you idiot. This dude falsely claimed that it said, our island jumped into action, putting together 50 beds, giving everyone a good meal, providing a play area for the children, making sure people have the health care and support they need. We are a community that comes together to support immigrants. You are such a lying sack of shit, Dylan. You fucking punk. I'm gonna go find a I'm gonna stop screen sharing for a minute because I want to go find a fucking picture of this douche nozzle real quick, dude, and show this fucking ass clown. Because I really want to see what this motherfucker looks like. Oh my god, he looks exactly what you'd expect him to look like too, man. Fucking Dylan. Alright, let's go ahead and do it. Screen share again. This is what that state rep guy Dylan looks like here. All these pictures right here. This guy looks like every leftist douche ever, basically. Then, of course, you got the one picture of him with the homies over here. Yeah, check it out. I'm totally diverse today for that one fucking 5-second shot, and then he runs out of there real quick after that. What an asswipe. Of course, there's a picture of him and Biden shaking hands there. Of course there is. Of course there is. I'm surprised there's not one of him sucking Obama's dick too, honestly. So, anyway. But yeah, continuing on here, that Christina Powell woman, Powell, I think it's her pronounced name, whatever she's the chick there in Florida. That's the response person for this stuff that's going on there. Yeah, it said Christina Pushow, I think it's pronounced name, Poshow, something like that. The rapid response director for Governor DeSantis responded by tweeting at Dylan, "Great, then you won't mind taking in a few thousand more." Oh, please, God, send them at least 1,000 at this point. Let's see this fucking shit show come to fruition right now, dude. Okay, I guess I did. Oh yeah. Of course. No. They didn't make beds. You're a liar, Dylan. You didn't make beds, bro. Yeah, it's a boasting about jumping into action. Put together 50 beds. No, what you put together, buddy, what we're seeing in that picture there is 50 fucking cots, dude, that you probably went to a local Walmart or something like that and picked up and put them all in a room together is what it was, it seems like there. That's a nice looking room too, by the way. Man, those are some nice looking wood floors. Shit. I like that lighting structure. My thing is, though, I think that's probably what, like a 12, maybe not 12, 10 foot ceiling, something like that. The problem with a room like that is the heating cost. Like anything over like 7-8 feet is never a good thing because you're just like wasting a bunch of space at the top there for heating, and your bills are going to be sky high after that and whatnot, dude. So, but yeah, that's a nice looking wood floor though for sure, man. That almost looks like it's a rec center or something, in the golf course or some shit maybe. I think that maybe what it is actually. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, because if you look right, actually, I can see that being something like that, dude. Because if you look at like the exit door there and stuff, because there's an exit door, there's an exit sign of the one door there. I assume this other door on the other side, on the right side of the picture there, is probably like a bathroom or something. And then it looks like there's like a like snack bar kind of deal right by the door there. So I could easily see that being something like a golf course place or something that they put them into, like some clubhouse or something like that. Anyway, you got Jesse Kelly said, "I can't wait until that your emergency rooms are flooded, your schools become bilingual, and your women aren't safe after dark. Then you'll see what border states have endured for years." Talking to that Dylan guy. Exactly. Said, but despite talk of, quote, jumping into action by Democrats, authorities said that they are now moving the roughly 50 migrants from the island to a military base in Cape Cod just less than 2 days after the illegals arrived in Martha's Vineyard. I'll tell you what, dude. Nah, fuck that. Fuck that shit. Be like, no. That military base needs to be like, we're not taking them, dude. Send them back to Martha's Vineyard. Fuck them. You got the issue there, buddy. Fix it. Yeah, so buses have arrived in Edgertown to transport migrants from St. Andrew's Parish House. Okay, that's what that was. So there was one big bus and two smaller buses to transport folks off to the island. Said people with bags are taking selfies and hugging volunteers goodbye. Jesus. Let's see, you got this Barrett guy said Martha's Vineyard is such a welcoming sanctuary that it shipped the 50 migrants to a detention facility at a military base on the mainland less than 24 hours after they arrived. Boy, they sure showed Ron DeSantis. And then Mike Cernovich said Martha's Vineyard kicked them out already? Question mark. And then some guy named Mark said, just so we're clear, Martha's Vineyard could not accommodate 50 immigrants and remove them in one day. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's what it is, dude. These people don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about anything, dude. They want to sit there and fucking virtue signal and pontificate and everything else like that and be like, no, we totally care about illegal immigration in this country. We totally care about these people. We totally care as long as they're not in our fucking yard, as long as they're not in at our fucking front door, as long as they're not anywhere in our fucking general vicinity is what it is, dude. And that's the problem with these white liberal motherfuckers, dude, in this country. And those like them, they are total hypocrites. They are the same fucking douchebags, like I mentioned months ago on this channel, under the other name that I used to go by, of how these are the same hypocrite people that always want to talk about diversity and inclusion and stuff like that, yet are the least diverse and inclusive of all people in this country, honestly, dude. And they also tend to be the same people that will be the teachers in our society and stuff like that, and will be all like, there's no fucking CRT in our school system. There's no child grooming going on in our school system. Wait, why are you trying to pass parental rights bills to deal with this stuff? Oh my God, what do you mean? There was no pornography in our fucking libraries, except there totally fucking is, by the way, in all these cases. And now you've seen these fucking, a lot of these teachers come out of the woodwork and be fucking child molesters and fucking pedophile groomers and stuff like that, dude. So, yeah, anyway. Trying to see if there's anything else I want to discuss today besides that. No. That's the thing. Breitbart right now, there's like pretty much their entire front page is like Martha's Vineyard and stuff. Let's see. Trying to see if there's anything else there's worth discussing here. Yeah, I already talked about Tim Ryan in the first half of this episode. That I had to cut short there about him, his whole kill MAGA Republicans and stuff like that, and is now down 4 points. JD Vance now. Let's see. You got Republicans host parents of fentanyl victims. That's an interesting one. It's a Breitbart exclusive inside the Texas jail hiding Mexico's most powerful Gulf cartel boss. Interesting. Let's see. Arming of bureaucrats as police defunded. Oh, here you go. This is one of the ones I want to discuss here. Talking about Kari Lake here. I really hope that would be awesome to see that chick win the Arizona governorship, dude, because she, for those who don't know who Kari Lake is, basically, from my understanding, she was a local news reporter there in Arizona, and she had called out what was going on in this country a lot. It basically got her fired eventually, is what it was, dude. And she's like, fine, fuck it, I'm just going to run for governor then. And she has. She's legitimately run for governor now, dude. But yeah, it said Arizona Republican Kari Lake, media push leftist false narrative that police target minorities. Yeah, that is true, by the way. That being said, can we? I would like to point something out on that one, though, dude. I was watching a video last night from somebody's Discord, and it was basically from a couple days ago. There was this female cop. I'm not sure which state this was. It was Arizona or some other state like that. I remember it was one of the leftist states like Delaware or something like that. I think it was Delaware because it was Delaware Libertarian Party that put it out or whatever. And it was basically this female cop who was bitching and moaning about like, oh, you as random citizens can't do 90 on fucking roadways and stuff like that, but I as a police officer can. And if I'm behind you, get the fuck out of my way. And just like basically being the latest piece of shit and stuff like that. And it's like, and people wonder how people become anti-cop. It's like, it's not that hard to figure out when you have elitist, stupid fucking cunts like that who think they're above everybody else, who want to sit there and fucking be like, I have a badge and qualified immunity and I can clap your ass if I want to, kind of thing, whatever the case being. It's like, until they yank that badge off your fucking chest and throw your ass away in prison, Amber Geiger style, bitch. And that's what needs to fucking happen to that chick, honestly, dude. Seriously. But yeah, those are the kind of people why I'm anti-cop, anti-fed right now in a lot of cases, dude. Now, granted, I'm not 100% anti-cop. Like, I believe we still need, like, some kind of law and order is what it is, dude. Doesn't need to be exactly like law enforcement. No, it could be armed citizenry entirely. It could be American citizens dealing with fucking criminality ourselves at this point, dude. But yeah, she said Arizona Republican gubernatorial nominee Carrie Lake bashed the media Thursday, asserting they disseminate the leftist lies that law enforcement targets minorities. Said Lake, a former Fox 10 Phoenix anchor, held a joint press conference focused on law enforcement with Arizona's Republican nominee for Attorney General Abe Habedash, I think is the guy's name, which would be the dude right there in the red tie. That's the guy that's running for Attorney General there. Interestingly, about that Abe dude, that dude, he actually said if he were to become Attorney General there, like one of the first thing he's doing is actually declaring fentanyl as like a weapon of mass destruction kind of thing or whatever, like that Texas sheriff was trying to do the other day, and would deal with the cartels accordingly and stuff like that. And good for that, dude. I hope both these people win. I would love to see both of them win, honestly, dude. Both Abe and Carrie win their respective races here in Arizona, because that they would be getting shit done day number one, dude, 100%. So anyway, let's see. It said they held that at a Phoenix law enforcement agency or association. Carrie Lake was quoted as saying, "A lot of people of color feel like they are unfairly targeted by police. They are wrong to feel that way." A reporter asked, "Are they wrong to feel that way?" A reporter asked Carrie Lake, and regardless of if there's any merit there, what can you as governor do to improve the perception of police? And said Lake said, "Big mistake. Reporter claims people of color." Please stop. Like, people, please stop using that fucking. It's just as bad as the other one that used to exist back in the 50s, dude. Like, just call it minorities, call them black, call them, Latinos, whatever the case be, dude. Like, they're much better off calling them what they really are, man. Stop calling them people of color and shit like that. But yeah, she said those people were targeted by police. Said Lake, every Arizonan wants safety and security in their neighborhood. It doesn't matter what their skin color is. The Abe guy said, do these brave men and women look like racist to you? I mean, you never know, man. You never know, buddy. Let's see. Said, quote, "I talked to people of color. I talked to all Arizonians. They're all concerned about crime," said Lake, adding, "Every Arizonan wants safe and security in the neighborhood. Doesn't matter what their skin color is. And if you look at stats, you will look and see that police do not target those people. That is a lie that's been perpetrated by the left and then spread and disseminated and respread by the media." Another reporter followed up by asking the gubernatorial candidate if she does not believe that's an opinion. If she does not, quote, "believe that's an opinion a lot of people of color have." She said, "I don't. I think you guys find one or two people, three or four, and they're activists oftentimes, and then you spread that narrative." She's right about that too, by the way. When you look at most of that shit, dude, it 100% is how am I trying to say this now? Yeah, it's basically like BLM shit. It's like what happened with the whole George Floyd thing, dude. You had a dude who was a fucking massive junkie, laundry list of fucking criminal charges previous to that. I'm not saying what Derek Chauvin did was right. It wasn't, obviously. The thing was, I'm pretty sure that George Floyd would have died anyway, even without fucking Chauvin, like, knee in the neck kind of thing or whatever, dude. Because the dude was high as fuck on, like, a shitload of fucking drugs at the time, dude. And was and even the medical examiner said that after the fact that he would have died from, like, just the fact that he had so much drugs in the system then. But anyway, the big thing was, you had those summer riots back in 2020. You had Kamala Harris and company literally bail funding these fucking people out of prison, dude. These BLM and Antifa terrorists and shit, dude. And then they want to sit there and bitch and moan like, "Oh no, but it's totally fucking them targeting fucking people." It's like, no, it's not, dumbasses. No, it's not, dude. It's like, yeah, if you got a broken taillight that you're driving around with for 6 months and you don't get it fucking fixed, and you got fucking cops coming up to your vehicle and being like, "Hey, you got a broken taillight there. I'm going to cite you for a ticket on whatever on that, dude." And that's how a lot of these encounters start, unfortunately. And then you have these people that are stupid, that are fucking criminals and shit like that are minorities and stuff, who end up pulling guns and escalating the situation, or they end up fucking doing some stupid shit and trying to resist arrest and stuff like that, and then turn, like, basically what would be a lawful arrest into a deadly force encounter a lot of the times. Or hell, in the case of that one asswipe in the fucking Wendy's parking lot, the guy was drunk and high behind the fucking wheel during 2020. Ended up trying to steal a fucking cop's taser, try to tase them with it, got shot in fucking self-defense. And then what happened? You had the BLM and Antifa terrorists there in fucking Georgia burn down that fucking Wendy's and kill little black girl Sequoia Turner. A lot of people don't know that one, man. There were 2 black males that were arrested for the murder of Sequoia Turner, a 8-year-old little black girl whose family was literally just trying to drive down a fucking road, took a wrong turn, and a bunch of BLM terrorists opened fire on the fucking car, dude. That's the kind of shit that pisses me off. You know what else pisses me off? Fucking toddlers like Ace Lucas here in Canton, Ohio, who was murdered in August of 2020 by a bunch of fucking gangbangers his dad had a fucking fallout with or something like that, dude. I think if I'm not mistaken, dad stole like drug money or drugs or something from them was what it was. And then what'd they do? You had 3 of these pieces of shit go up to the fucking house, literally falling over kids' toys and open fire into the fucking house, killing Ace and injuring his brother. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. And as far as I'm aware, only one of those assholes is ever arrested for Ace's murder, even though there's still 2 of them out there on fucking wherever, in Ohio or Michigan, wherever the fuck it's at now, that are still doing more criminal shit to this day. Anyway, so going back to the Kerry Lake thing here. Yeah, she's talking about the media spreading the narrative of a couple activist people, and then she said she challenged reporters to go into minority neighborhoods and ask residents, do you want fewer police? Do you want to defund the police? They will look at you like you are a craziest person on earth. Nobody wants that. So that Abe guy also added that to the reporter and echoed Lake's sentiments. This is a lie that has been perpetrated by the media and members of these organizations. And why you consistently bring this up is that you seek to further divide our country. Exactly, dude. Said right now we are seeing is law enforcement is under attack, and that's why we are using a rise in crime. Our cities are turning into Gotham. So he's saying we need Batman and Robin, apparently. Maybe Batgirl too. Armed vigilantes. I'd be down for that, dude. I'd be down for that. Anyway, to quote law enforcement, they wear body cameras, he went on to add. They do every single thing right, and then all of a sudden, when there's some minor issue, you highlight it and try to make it a bigger deal than it is, and you cause rioting on the streets. So Abe pointed to members of law enforcement behind him, asking the members of the media if they look like they're racist to you. No, they're members of our community, and it's time to treat them with respect. The thing about that is, though, dude, Abe, Hamadesh, respect goes both ways, dude. It goes both ways all the time, dude. If you're going to have a dickhead cop be a fucking dickhead to Americans, dude, and treat them like shit, why shouldn't we treat that fucking cop like shit too, man? You know? And again, like I said before, dude, if you want to talk about respect, like respecting law enforcement or respect in general, dude, here's something to talk about. Let's talk about demilitarizing the police right now, dude. Something Obama was the one that basically started doing back in his administration back in like 2009, 2010. And you've continued to see the militarization of police for like the past 12 years or so now, to where you have fucking MRAPs and Bearcats and other kind of armored vehicles on the streets of every city in this fucking country when they don't need to be. There is no need for a fucking police agency to have any of that shit, dude. To be militarized to the fucking teeth in armored vehicles to run around the fucking streets, dude. Hell, there was a video that came out of Canton, Ohio during the 2020 riots. And mind you, these people were being mostly like, you know, the whole mostly peaceful protesting thing. The people in this case actually were being peaceful to the most of extent and stuff like that. The only thing that they were technically doing wrong at the time was, I think there was a curfew in place there in Canton, Ohio, that they were technically breaking that night because it was like after the curfew or whatever. So you had the cops basically come out there and were like, hey, go back home or whatever. And you had the people basically walking down the street, like trying to go back home was what it was. You had you literally had like an MRAP in the middle of the street with a bullhorn waking up the neighborhood being like, hey, assholes that are on they're on the kind of streets there, get back on the sidewalk and walk faster. You had some fucking dickhead cop literally fucking peekaboo out of the top of a fucking MRAP with a big ass bottle of OC spray and just spray like 10 fucking people that were just walking. And it's like, you want to talk about escalation by law enforcement, dude? That's the kind of fucking shit that escalates shit. These people are walking down the street. Oh, because they're not walking fast enough for you, you're going to fucking, you know, whack-a-mole out of a fucking MRAP and fucking mace him in the face? Fuck you, cop. Like, seriously, as far as I'm aware, that fucking piece of shit cop was never fired for that, dude, which he fucking should have been, honestly. And it's bullshit, dude, entirely. Like, that's the kind of crap that pisses me off beyond belief in this fucking country, is people like that you have folks who don't actually care about this nation, and you have a lot of ex-military that have seen combat veterans in this country who then get into law enforcement and want to sit there and act like the American citizens are now their fucking enemy is what it is, dude. And that's the truth, by the way. This is what we've seen many, many times over in the last couple of decades now. As you see these people that will come over here, come back from service in the wars, these bankers' wars that should never exist to begin with, and then they'll be like, oh, I don't really have any experience in anything else, but I can totally do law enforcement stuff now, or whatever the case be. And so they do, and then they basically go and become like the most jackbooted pieces of shit out there, dude, potentially. Not all of them, but there's a lot that are, though, dude. I'm not saying every single one of them goes that route, but yeah, there's a lot that are fucking oath-breaking sacks of shit right now, dude, entirely. And I would say, truthfully, if we want to have a better law enforcement agencies, don't allow combat vets to be fucking cops, dude. It's as simple as that, honestly. Because they're going to be the ones that are the biggest oathbreakers of all most of the time. So, you know, I'd much rather see something, and like I've said this many times, and I'll reiterate it again now, I would much rather see something where you actually have law enforcement in this country becoming beat cops again, where they station a car someplace, you know, like a block or two away or whatever the case be, and then they just start walking around the fucking neighborhood block by block and stuff like that. Maybe they do a circle around the block, go back to their car, you know, drive to another spot, circle around, you know, walk around that block and stuff like that, go back to their vehicle again and again throughout the day and shit. And that way you'd actually get to know people in the fucking neighborhoods is what it is, dude. People actually respect you then as a fucking law enforcement officer because you're actually having interactions with them face to face and not just driving by in a fucking vehicle all day, dude. And that's the problem a lot of times, dude, is it's lazy ass cops, it's fucking overweight cops, et cetera, dude, that don't want to get off their lazy asses and actually do anything, dude, is what it is, which I don't really blame them in some cases because, you know, I've talked to people about that and the fucking belts and shit that they carry and like all the equipment and shit, dude, it's like 50 to 60 extra pounds of shit on you, man. So why would you want to walk around with that all day, especially in like a hot ass fucking black uniform and stuff like that, dude, on a hot ass summer day? Fuck that. No, you want to be in air conditioned car is what it is for the most part. But again, it's not like you can't have like something where you can just go to places and stuff. Hell, even just go to a single community area and stuff like that, dude. Like some fucking, you know, various apartment buildings and be like, hey, how's it going, everybody, or whatever the case be. Like introduce yourself as like officer, whatever it is, and you know, have interactions with these people and be like, hey, you know, I'm the local, you know, law enforcement here. Like, if you guys ever need anything, like, here's my card, you know. Like, if you need to call 911, I'm probably going to be the one responding. If you need to, you know, if it's really bad or whatever the case be, and you can't get a hold of, like, dispatchers and stuff like that, like, here's my personal number kind of thing is what it is, dude. And that would go a long way, honestly. I think that would do a lot of fucking police relations in this country to allow for people to actually come forward when it comes to murder cases and shit like that and actually get real justice for these fucking kids that are killed in black on black crimes and stuff like that, dude. And other things for that matter. Or it could be something like Ronan Sweeney, another kid who was killed here in Ohio, a little white kid who was murdered by some black dude, literally in his mother's arms, and this piece of shit shoots him in the fucking head, dude. And that happened right after Aces did. It was like about a month later or so. Back in 2020, it happened then. And nobody ever talks about either one of these cases, dude, because nobody gives a fuck. I do. That's the big thing. I'll talk about them all day long because I actually give a shit about these fucking murdered kids, dude. Because that could have been my niece, that could have been my nephew, for God's sakes, you know? Could be my own child. It's disgusting, man. Anyway, yeah, I don't really want to end this with a somber note, unfortunately. I was trying not to go down that road, man. And unfortunately, that Kerry Lake story kind of took me there. You know, so I'm gonna try to find one more story. To to talk about here. So we can go off on kind of a high note, I guess is what it would be here. Let's see here. Actually, no, we'll talk about a couple here. So we got Gavin Newsom signs California's social media censorship bill into law. Of course he fucking does. So like his own version of that media cartel bill thing or whatever, dude. Let's go ahead and read this article right here real quick now. Yeah, we'll do this for about another 15 minutes or so probably, and then we'll go from there. What a sack of dog shit, dude. Again, 2,000 mules. 2,000 mules candidate right there, Gavin Newsom. Let's see. It's the governor of Florida. Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has signed a bill into law that would require social media companies to report their content moderation policies to the state government. Legislation that even the Washington Post admits is controversial. No, it's unconstitutional and illegal. And I hope your ass likes getting sued into the fucking ground, Newsom, you fucking cock-stained piece of shit pedophile. Anyway, it said in a press release, Gavin Newsom made clear that the goal of the bill, AB 587, is to, quote, clamp down on certain types of First Amendment protected content on social media. So you mean literally fucking censorship of free speech, dude? That's what you're talking about, you fucking asshole. Said, quote, California will not stand by as social media is weaponized to spread hate and disinformation that threaten our communities and fundamental values as a country. Fuck you, dude, you fucking authoritarian asscock. Mind you, this is the dickless motherfucking cunt right here, Gavin Newsom, that is now trying to make a name for himself to run in 2024 for the presidency, dude. Yeah, fuck that guy. Mind you, his bitch, there's already been basically a lot of shit proven that his ass is in bed with fucking China, is taking a bunch of fucking money for that from them to allow California to be a beachhead for a future fucking invasion from those assholes, dude. Like, this dude should be sitting in a prison cell the rest of his damn life, honestly, if not, federal death penalty for that kind of shit. But anyway, said even leftist media like Washington Post acknowledged the bill raises free speech concerns. Said via Washington Post, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a controversial bill into law that aims to force greater transparency on social media companies, setting up a potential battle over whether such measures violate free speech protections. Yes, they do. It's already been proven they do, dude. The fuck, like I've said, as I said the other day in one of my videos, like the 4-hour stream I was talking about that shit, dude, is we need to have an Internet Bill of Rights at this point, dude. We need to have the fucking Bill of Rights of the Constitution extend to the internet when it comes to freedom of speech and stuff like that. Make these companies public utilities and stuff, dude, is what it is. Anyway, so California's effort is likely to draw some opposition from tech companies and their trade groups that have greeted the Republican-led efforts. It's a Chamber of Progression, an industry coalition that includes Facebook parent company Meta and Google, said Wednesday it is absolutely looking at potential court challenges, saying such mandates raise First Amendment issues. It's like requiring a bookstore to report to the government which books it carries or require the New York Times to explain which stories it publishes, said Adam Kosovich, the coalition CEO. Said California bill is further evidence of the Democrats' determination to have social media companies collude with the government on censorship. Evidence from journalist Alex Barison's case against Twitter revealed that Biden's White House maintained back channels with social media companies during the COVID crisis, identifying accounts they believed were spreading, quote, disinformation. In the Senate, the Democrats' point woman on tech relations, Senator Amy Klobuchar, who shouldn't even be in fucking office right now. And by the way, I'm going to point something out with this fucking worthless cunt, dude. If you look into Amy Klobuchar, dude, this bitch was a fucking DA in Minnesota, railroaded a fucking black child who did not commit any crime whatsoever, and railroaded this kid into fucking jail to further her own bullshit ass fucking political career, dude. And yet then ran in 2020, failed to win the presidential nomination, and yet was able to go right back to the Senate, just like Elizabeth Warren, just like Bernie Sanders, just like Kamala Harris, just like fucking Cory Booker, dude. And just like that fucking piece of shit Tim Ryan into the U.S. House, and just like that motherfucker Eric Sowell, who also went back into the House as a congressman, which sorry, internet went down for a minute there. which honestly, when you look at that, whether it be Sowell, whether it be Ryan, whether it be Klobuchar, Booker, Kamala, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, etc., dude, all 7 of these fuckers should have been out of office that day, dude. Should have been like, no, you resign from office because you're running for higher office. Go fuck yourself. Get the fuck out of here. But anyway, this fucking worthless cunt, Klobuchar, recently withdrew her much derided Journalism Competition and Preservation Act, or the JCPA, from a markup hearing after Senator Ted Cruz added an amendment that would prohibit media companies from colluding with big tech on censorship. By the way, that JCPA, I believe, was also the media cartel bill that Breitbart's been talking about all week, or the last couple weeks here, actually, is what it is, dude. It said, quote, if this is in it, we can't support the bill, said Klobuchar, revealing how important it is to Democrats that tech companies are allowed to coordinate their censorship with other elite-controlled institutions. They fucking want V for Vendetta, dude. You cannot tell me they don't at this point. You cannot tell me their endgame is not Nazi Germany 2.0 at this point in America, dude. That's exactly what it fucking is. From these fucking pieces of shit, dude. These fucking demon pedophiles like Amy Klobuchar, dude. And I guarantee you that chick is a fucking child molester, dude. There is no way she's not. And if she's not, then she's a fucking demon. Or she's potentially both, actually. And the same thing with so many of theirs, honestly, dude. So, yeah, it's a bunch of shit entirely, dude. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just do a screen share of the main Breitbart page here, which I think was kind of funny because they had some other stuff about the illegals being shipped out there. Said, we love you, but get out. Dems praise selves as do-gooders before shipping aliens off island. Yeah, and you got them basically handing off fucking bags of shit to people is what it is. Like, here's a box of food and some paper plates. Now get the fuck out of my area and my state and shit. That's basically what it is, dude. Yeah, it says residents privately admitted they don't want migrants here. Yeah, and you think the rest of us do? No, we don't. We never have, dude. We don't want illegals in our fucking country, dude. We don't want people undercutting our jobs and our fucking wages, for God's sakes. And that's exactly what they do every time, dude. Or what's even worse is these people are even more of a drain on our system because they'll come over here and they'll somehow, even being illegal in this country, be able to get on fucking food stamps and shit like that and drain our system that way. And other benefits from our states and stuff like that, dude. And it's like the fact that people like me who are actually very close to disabled can't get on disability, yet you can have some fucking illegal alien come to my country and take money out of my fucking pocket, essentially, is what it is, dude. It's absolute bullshit entirely, dude. And for those wondering why I talk about disability right now, my back is to the point that if I did a regular 9 to 5, I'd be on the floor in about 10 minutes is what it is, dude. And it's because of the falls I had when I was living in Columbus years ago. It completely fucked my spinal cord to where I have to get regular chiropractic appointments. Otherwise, I am down for weeks on end. So anyway, said Blackburn dunks. Dems had no problem dumping migrants in dead of night. Exactly. Let's see. DeSantis flights fraction of Biden's secret shipments to Interior. You got Hillary Clinton saying, this is literally human trafficking, says the woman who literally human trafficked children to do shitty things with them and to them, to her own homes, dude. And not to mention killed a bunch of people, dude. And is actually a human trafficker herself there. So, hypocrite Hillary there. Seriously, but like, if there's one thing that does piss me off about Trump's whole thing, Hillary should be in prison right now, dude. At minimum, she should be in prison right now. If not, again, federal death penalty for the shit she's done over the decades that are all felonies and everything else like that are death penalty worthy. So, anyway. Let's see. Migrants deported from Martha's Vineyard Sanctuary. National Guard called up for just 50 aliens. White House eyes litigation. Get out of here with that shit. You got John Rich says multiply 50 times 10,000 and bam, you're in South Texas. I like that guy. I think that's a dude from Big and Rich, if I'm not mistaken, the country band. I've heard him play a couple times at county fairs and shit. Not directly. I wasn't actually in like the thing, but the music was so loud from the stages and stuff like that. You could hear it like within the what the hell they call that, where all the food stuff is there in like the main area there. So it's pretty interesting. Anyway, then you got Facebook blames error for banning advertising of Holocaust film. You got woke Disney forced to cancel last scheduled Star Wars movie. Blue State Blues, a museum explores the quote white supremacy of the American flag. What the fuck? What the fuck? White supremacy? Get the fuck out of here, you Blue State assholes! Man, we like. I swear to fucking God, like we're gonna balkanize in 2023, dude. We ain't even gonna make the 2024 general election at this point. This is gonna be like 2023 balkanization there. Seriously, bro. I really need to go watch. I really need to find some place that has My Son Hunter for free that I can watch it on, dude. Because I really want to see that movie at this point. Yeah, you got My Son Hunter. True fact: Biden threatened to withhold $1 billion from Ukraine to protect Hunter's connected company. Of course, he did. You got Matt Gaetz says My Son Hunter a must see. Breitbart nails it. Let's see, you got FedEx crash after global recession warning. Harvard professor, U.S. in productivity recession. Yeah, we're heading towards a Great Depression, by the way. Voters say Biden using anger at MAGA to avoid important issues because he is a hypocrite, douchebag, motherfucking unconstitutional, anti-constitutional, fucking ass clown, authoritarian, oath-breaking sack of shit, dude. Is what it is. So anyway, say pay the Elon tax. Tesla owner claims locked out of car until he pays $26,000 for new battery. What the fuck, man? This is why you don't have EVs, people. Just so we're clear on that one. This is why I will never own electric vehicles, dude. Because again, shit like that right there, you can be locked out of your fucking car until it's like, oh, you got to get a new battery, bro, for 26 grand now. For a fucking battery? Are you kidding me, bro? $26,000? Jesus Christ. I can go buy a whole car for that kind of shit right now, dude, in some cases. I mean, it might be an old car, but damn. Let's see. It says America suffering under Biden inflation. We'd love to have a kid, but we have to put it off. See, now that's bullshit right there. And that's what I'm saying, dude. You have all these illegal aliens being brought into our country. We're in this whole fucking thing from a giant mess of money printing, and you got American citizens who literally put off having children because they can't afford them. That's fucking bullshit, dude. This is one of the main reasons why America has a loss in children right now, dude. Why we're having a decline in kids, and why we're having to import the third world and the first world is what it is, dude. We wouldn't need to do that if it wasn't for this bullshit, dude, and many other things like that. Roe versus Wade is another one of these things. Let's see if there's anything else worth talking about here. Let's see. Police man shoplifts $1,100 king crab legs from Costco. Damn, dude. I assume that had to be a bunch of packages. Let me go ahead and read that one off to the side here and see what it says. That had to be a shitload of them then, dude. He must have had like a cart full or something. Or a pallet load or something like that. Let's see. Police in Roseville, Michigan say that they have identified a man who entered a Costco wholesale store and stole approximately $1,100 worth of king crab legs. Said according to police via Detroit News, suspect walked into the store but did not present a Costco membership card to workers at the entrance. Let's see. The man then proceeded to the seafood area of the store where he stole $1,107 in king crab legs, then exited without attempting to pay for any of the items. Let's see. After asking for the public's help in identifying suspect Thursday morning, officials confirmed on social media that they had identified the man in connection with a theft. Suspect has been identified, said the police department. Thank you to everyone for the help. Police have not publicly released suspect's identity as of yet. It is unknown if the suspect is being questioned or is in custody. Security camera footage shows the suspect wearing light gray shorts, gray shirt, Under Armour t-shirt. Police described the man as being in his 30s with mid-length brown hair and then thin beard. He's a white guy, by the way. Looks like a meth head. But anyway, it says security camera footage showed the suspect. Yeah, we said that already. Okay, so that theft occurred at the Costco, located approximately 17 miles from Detroit. So yeah, crazy shit, man, for sure. Fucking insanity, man. That's nuts, dude. $1,100, like, seriously, bro. Were you trying to resell those to a seafood restaurant or something? Like, damn. Let's see. Chicago police, man arrested for attempting to kidnap 5-year-old girl. Pedophile white dude right there. They tried that shit here in Ohio, too, and it was right outside the girl's house, dude. And Thank God people fucking heard her screams and shit, dude. The fact that guy wasn't beaten in the fucking streets, honestly, is everything wrong with this country right now. Just by the way, just so we're clear on that one, Ohio has stand your ground on the books right now, dude. They could have killed that guy legally. So, not in Chicago, though. Chicago doesn't have that. And that's why it's a shithole. Let's see. Father returns. Lost wallet to set example for daughter. A good deed never goes unnoticed. See, that's where we're gonna leave it off with. We're gonna leave it off with this story right here, man, because that's where we need to leave it off with the heartfelt story for the day for the 2A cast. Go ahead and stop screen sharing and then re-screen share once it hits that. Let's see. Said photos. Father returns lost wallet. Set an example for daughter. A good deed never goes unnoticed. Said when Terrence Sessions found a wallet on the ground Sunday while at a gas station with his daughter in Forest Brook, South Carolina, he turned it into a life lesson. The owner would probably be worried once they realized it was missing. So Sessions took it upon himself to locate the person's home. According to reports, when he arrived at the house, a doorbell camera caught the moment he brought the wallet back. The homeowner, who works as a nurse, was extremely thankful as she shared the story online, said Sessions. Posted still images on social media that showed him performing a good deed, writing, I honestly didn't expect to go viral of doing something everybody should do. Let's see. It said his friends were quick to applaud his good example. One person writing, very thankful for you, my man. Thank you for your effort and kindness. I appreciate you. A good deed never goes unnoticed. Someone else commented, while another said, you've always been this type of person, though. So according to Sessions, his little daughter's mother passed away, and he knew it was up to him to teach her to do the right thing, even when no one seemed to be watching. Quote, no matter what color, no matter what, just do the right thing because there's one person looking down from above, and I'm always just trying to teach my daughter to do the right thing, Sessions commented. There's a picture of him and his daughter right there. Said, meanwhile, more social media users heaped praise on the young father for his actions. You did a great job while teaching his daughter how humans should be. We need more people like this man. Now that is a spreading kindness, showing character and integrity. God's blessing to this man. Another comment continued. Yeah, good for that dude, man. And that's what I'm saying. Hopefully this dude does not turn into a second story where it's, father who returned wallet gunned down in hail of bullets by fucking gangbanger or something like that, dude, because God forbid that usually happens, unfortunately, in that case. Or it's man who returned wallet loses daughter in fucking drive-by shooting or some shit like that. So, yeah, hopefully they both make it out. Hopefully they both make it on to do better things in their lives, dude, and can be a good example everybody needs to be. By the way, I'd like to point something out. I've returned many wallets in my life to people. There was a woman years ago at a grocery store that I was at who had apparently taken her wallet off, or not her wallet, her entire purse actually, off of her cart to like set down because she was looking through it for something or whatever. She set it down on the produce area there, and she starts walking away, and I'm like, ma'am, you forgot your purse here. And then there was years ago when I was a little kid, there was a dude who was putting his wallet in his back pocket. This is when I was at a video store as a kid, and saw the dude drop it, and I was like, bro, and just like holding his wallet for him and like waving at him. And I'm like, drop this, dude. He's like, oh, thanks. So, yeah. And I've done a few, I think there's a few other times where I've seen stuff like that happen. My mother one time, and I was with her at the time, had done something similar as well with someone in her purse there where she's like, ma'am, you forgot your purse over here. So, yeah, and that's what it is, dude. When you're raised by somebody who's a decent person and you're, they set a good example for you, you tend to be a better person yourself is what it is. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people in our society that are not raised by anybody, and they tend to be the criminality of this country. And it's sad. And it's one of these things that I would like to see some kind of program, some kind of fatherless home program implemented here in Ohio and possibly the nationwide level for that matter, to where we start dealing with this issue for real and we start dealing with these root cause issues like that to have a better society and get these kids before they go down a road and a pathway that they're going to be, 10, 12, 14, 15 years old, whatever it is, picking up guns and going on fucking, doing gangbanging shit and stuff like that and ruining their lives forever is what it is, man. It's like, nah, you need to catch them early. You need to teach them the right thing. You need to teach them constitutionalism. You need to teach them respect, how to be a great man in the future and stuff like that, and do what needs to be done there. That's pretty much it for today, though. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.